Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news. And welcome back to another edition of Issues in Education. Mondays during the Noon Report, we spotlight the issues impacting our public school families with the good doctor, Ralph Kerr, at the Teaching and Learning Institute. Ralph, feels kind of weird talking to you this late in the season. We typically take the summer off, but there is so much going on when it comes to public education and COVID-19 that we would be remiss if we did not have you on to keep us in the know. Let's just start. I know that budget vote in New York was a little while ago, but we would love, I know a lot of folks would love to know what the participation rate was this year. We're hearing from a lot of folks that it was actually higher than it had been in years past. Is that true?
That's absolutely true. I mean, I'm really excited about what happened during the vote. First of all, 99.2% of all the school budgets in the New York State passed, which is even higher than usual. And I know that going into it, some of the superintendents were concerned because they had a lot of absentee ballots that were going to be counted. But the end result was that 3 times the voter turnout actually occurred. Normally the turnout is maybe 9 or 10%, and this year it was up to like 30%, and the passage rate was just outstanding. So I think there may have been something to the point that parents were saying, let's not turn down the school budget, let's get it passed so we can get our kids back to school.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like a pandemic to get us to appreciate our public schools a little more. Hopefully it doesn't have to come to that every year. That would be really unfortunate. But you talked about getting the kids back to school. I know in Pennsylvania they're allowing in-school operations as soon as July 1st, this coming Wednesday, just a couple days from now, Ralph. Give us a sense of what that might look like in the Keystone State.
I wish I knew. I think it's going to be a real complex issue once they've got the plan. Now they have to work the plan. Every district has to submit a plan that is approved by the governor's office. That includes things like how they're going to monitor everybody, what the hygiene practices are going to be, some guidelines on face masks, protocols for cleaning, and then the real test ones are the space occupancy, maintaining 6-foot distance, no cafeteria. So lots of changes, and I think it's going to be a real challenge for not only the students, but the teachers and the staff as well.
We're hearing from some people involved in the education process that a lot of districts are toying with this idea of an every other day sort of thing for the students, not the teachers. So one crop of students would come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other crop would come in Tuesday, Thursday, that sort of deal. Are you hearing that at all where you are, Ralph? And would you support something like that in the name of crowd control?
Well, that's one of the solutions, but I just don't see how that's really going to work. What are the parents going to do on the off days? Are they going to be able to find childcare? I mean, I think that just compounds the issue even more, and I don't think that will work.
Phase 4 in New York, Ralph, which much of the upstate now is under the final phase, also included guidelines for colleges and universities, and this is something we're not talking nearly enough of. Hey, what are we going to do where those college kids come the fall? And man, I tell you, that is a sticky wicket. If you would explain some of what the state has released here when it comes to colleges and universities.
This is a real challenge. The question is, how are you going to repopulate the campus? Yeah. And particularly for residential campuses, this is a real issue. They've got issues of capacity, how many of these students are actually going to be able to handle on a residential basis. Guidelines right now say that you must wear a face mask other than when you're with your roommate. So everywhere else on campus, you'd have to wear your face mask. They've got priorities to testing, to cleaning, what happens if there is an outbreak in terms of isolation and quarantine. And then finally, how are you going to deal with it if you just have to shut down? Yeah. The biggest question that I have about all of this is, who's going to monitor that on a college campus, and what are the consequences? I mean, you can remember from your college days that a lot of people go to college figuring they're going to find, Mrs. University or Mr. College.
Yeah.
And, if that's the case, how are you going to monitor people in some of the isolated areas on campus, with wearing face masks and social distancing? It's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that's going to work.
And then you throw into the mix all the international students. I know Houghton has a lot of international students. Schools like Cornell, just so many international students. What do you do with them?
Right.
That's a conversation for another day. Lots of weighty issues, Ralph. You're talking about all of these topics on your website. Folks have questions about the great work you're doing at Teaching and Learning Institute. Where can they find you, sir?
It's just simply whyrun.org, whyrun.org.